Good evening, Ghana. This is a new year, and we bring you better content on Confessions. My name is Miss Nancy, Ghana's only style coach and host of Confessions right here on TV3. Tonight, we're going to have a great time. Luckily, the gentleman says he's afraid. He's afraid of tomorrow. He's afraid of what could happen, but it's not happened yet. And yeah, sometimes we need to discuss our fears so that they will be taken away, or we will know it would never happen. And if it happens, what we're supposed to do. Hey, it's going to be a great year right here. It is the Ghana month. It is my birth month. And this March is going to be amazing. We are seated in the confessions booth, and the gentleman says that he has a beautiful wife. He knows that she's not cheating on him, and yet he's afraid of what would happen or what could happen tomorrow because of some reconnection that is happening in her life. People, the gentleman is ready, and I'm all ears. I want to listen to your story and your fears.
Miss Nancy.
Yes, dear.
My wife is an amazing person. She does everything for me, and she is always going to be my first choice.
I'm glad.
We've been together for 5 years, and I've never had any issues with her. Neither have I ever had any reason to find fault with her.
No.
Recently, an ex-boyfriend reached out to her from the US that he's going through a divorce and he has no one to speak to about. Now, my wife has all of a sudden been the one there for him, where constant communication is going on. They speak almost on a daily basis, where the mother has now come into the picture.
Which mother? Your wife's mother?
The ex-boyfriend's mother.
The ex's mother is now talking to your wife as well.
On a daily basis.
Hey.
On a daily basis. Now, the man, the ex-boyfriend, has transferred all his properties into my wife's name, where she manages all his estates and affairs. Now, it has now turned out to be an employer and employee relationship,
Kind of.
where he has provided her with a brand new car. I, for one, have not found any reason to be suspicious. But still, I find it uneasy, and I feel a bit insecure about the whole situation.
Is the gentleman in question in Ghana?
No,
He's never been in Ghana the whole time.
no.
Okay, so it's his mom that is in Ghana.
Yes, please.
So the guy communicates with your wife, and his mom also the same.
As well.
In Chi, these are the stories we say when you move rem kakra. You say, but the possibility is so high. Does he have a reason to be worried? If it were you, wouldn't you be worried? This is his story. This is his confession. It's not happened yet, but he is scared. And if it happens, would you survive it?
I can't lose her.
Oh.
We would not have you lose there. This is Confessions. This is where you hear the stories and then you get the solutions as well. Let's go into the studio. Let's see if we can help this gentleman and his wife. We are seated right here in the studio, and guys, it's good to have you all. Thank God for your lives and for all the good things happening. So long as there is life, there is, right? Yeah. So we're all good, aren't we? Yeah. The gentleman is afraid. Does he have a cause?
I think, okay, putting myself in the guy's shoes as a husband, I'll be afraid because this is your ex we are talking about.
Yeah.
Now, as your ex, you need to be able to cut off some ties. And in the story, the guy was saying that his wife, his ex actually wants to send or give all his inheritance to my wife. It doesn't make sense. Or then that begs the question that there's something going on in between them while you've been married for the 5 years? Because if not, my wife, I don't think you should have any just cause to, yeah.
That is what he thinks. What do you think too?
Right, Miss Nancy. For me, my bullet is directed towards the man.
Okay.
You know, more often than not, when there are marital issues, usually we blame the women.
Yeah.
Oh, the woman is doing this, doing that. But look, we are 8 billion in this world, and you, this man, there's no one in this world other than your ex, somebody's wife, to cry out your divorce issues. I mean, there's the woman, his mother in the picture. Your mother could even be the first person, or there are counselors around. Why your ex, someone's wife? And if I was the man, you know, there's definitely going to be a snowball effect from the communication to the inheritance. It's going to create a snowball effect. We all know what happened in the end. So if I was the man, look, I'll cut everything going on, all forms of communication with the man, with the man's wife, period.
Well, this is what they have to say. This is what they have to say right here in the studio. Are you ready?
Yes, Ms.
Yes.
Nancy.
Let me take
good
your
evening.
words.
I think they are all putting the bullets on the man, but you know, fear women. Fear women.
It's the title of a movie tonight.
Yes, Miss Nancy. This woman, like, what will even come to your mind that you should get close to your ex again?
Listen, this is Miss Nancy. I'm the host of Confessions. Technically, in Ghana, I'm supposed to be the best listener. So if I have an ex who loved talking to me, loves to hear my voice, and knows
Miss
that
Nancy,
this head
so
of mine is deep, he would always come to me for more.
So it's the woman that is giving that room for that to happen.
A woman
And-
like me, I have the technical reason to listen.
Miss
Such as
Nancy,
I'm listening to
she should-
somebody here. Why can't I listen to somebody
If-
I knew?
If she loves her marriage and the husband, I don't think she'll go to that extent, because the probability that the reconnection could happen is very high.
This woman is so honest. She is so open. And her husband knows everything. She's not doing all of these things at the blind side of the husband. She's an honest one. I think that this is about the time that I bring in my professional counselors, Reverend Catherine Emmanuel. People show Mama Kathy some love. She is a counselor, she is an author, and she is a life coach. On Confessions, we bring you the very best of resources. And for the first time on Confessions this year, Mr. Yao George Autry, he's also a relationship counselor. Let's show them more love, more energy, more energy. Hey, Yao. It's so good to have you. So, Mama Kathy,
Yes.
your shoes.
Oh my God.
Quite a statement.
Thank you very much.
Afishapa,
Oh, I think I'm better. Yeah.
it's good to have you.
Good to see you.
Afiao, it's your first time on Confessions.
Exactly.
We were looking forward to having you.
Well, thank God I'm here today. And
I'm glad.
So excited.
So, people, this is Afiao and Mama Kathy. Afiao, the gentleman is afraid. Does he have a reason?
Oh, absolutely. He has every reason to be afraid. But he needs to take action. I would have wished he had actually stepped in earlier than this.
Okay.
It has gone too far. But there's still a chance he can save his marriage.
You actually feel that this is something that could actually break the marriage?
Of course.
It could.
Look, a man who has separated from a lady over the years, and the husband didn't give any indication that his wife had children with the ex.
No.
So I believe there was nothing like
None.
that. Okay. And after God knows how many years, he's sojourning elsewhere. And then he has issues with whoever he was married to.
Married to.
And now he's sending back to the ex. And then look at the fantastic offers that he has given the ex.
It's not a gift. He has just entrusted his estate in her hands because he absolutely trusts this woman.
It's a gift, but the wrapper says all the things you are talking about. Okay? Because, look, how many people are there that he could have fallen or he could have reached out to talk to.
This is you giving all your money, access to your money, your investments. It comes at a cost of trust, absolute trust. There is some trust you may not even have for your blood siblings.
And then the woman, accepting the fact that she is a wife, decides to say, oh, bring it. I'll
take
manage
care
your
of it.
resources for you. She may have the best of intentions, but remember, the road to hell, they say, is paved with good intentions.
The road to hell is paved
right.
with good intentions.
So she, look, and the man, as I was saying earlier on, the man should have actually confronted the woman, the wife, and made his stance clear to the woman. If they see the answer or whatever the woman would have had to say, then would have confirmed or maybe disabused his mind.
Yeah.
He hasn't done that yet. At least he didn't give any indication that he has done that
had.
yet. But that's why I was saying it's not lost yet. He can now approach his wife. I mean, a husband and a wife in a room, whenever it is that you want to talk about issues like this, he could have done all that. And then maybe the woman's response could have assured him that, okay, we are doing this on purely business terms. Whatever the response would be, would determine whether to really consolidate the fears that he is entertaining or
not.
maybe say, okay.
Thank you, thank you. That was a good one. Thank you very much. Mama Kathy, this man, you know, a typical Ghanaian African man wants to come off as a man that is absolutely confident. He's not even telling his wife his fears because he doesn't want to look like I'm afraid to lose you. Meanwhile, you're afraid to lose her. What is it with Ghanaian men that they never want to express their emotions? The good, the bad, the ugly. They're always shoes.
Thank you very much, Miss Nancy, and a Happy New Year looking splashing.
Thank you.
You know, I've listened to that. I've listened to the gentleman, and I'll draw a few conclusions.
Okay.
When you're saying whether African man or Ghanaian man or wherever, sometimes our upbringing
Okay.
can affect how we see and judge things.
Yes.
There are some family you were not raised to challenge issues. And so you are becoming an adult and getting married doesn't change the fact that the software has not been upgraded,
Yes.
updated.
Yes.
So he may come from a place where he never would have known how to manage difficulties or conflict or any of those things when they show up. So we cannot also completely blame him because we don't know how he was raised. Okay, that aside, I believe that it's high time that people really understand what marriage is all about. I can't blame two of them so terribly because the late Dr. Miles Monroe said something, where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable.
Okay.
When you do not understand the purpose for marriage, it's very, very easy to make blunders.
Yes.
And that is what has plagued the society as we have it now. So there are a few things that stood out for me when I listened to that. There are no boundaries in their marriage. Premarital should have taken care of those excesses. That when you are married, you're supposed to establish boundaries. And this is how far the boundary shoots. And so when something interferes with these boundaries, you should be able to rise up and say, no, darling, that's not what we agreed on.
So my ex cannot call me and share his fears, his frustrations of life with me just because I'm married.
No, because marriage, you have to first of all know, it's not a casual relationship. It's a covenant. And the society is founded on marriage and family.
Yes.
So it's too important an institution to play around with. And that's what most people don't know. Because we are all outcome of where we were produced from. So now, you have an ex. Let him remain ex. It doesn't stop you from talking once in a while. But, okay, you want to do that?
Yeah. People, be present. When they give the bullets, let them feel appreciated.
Okay, so an ex remains an ex. If you wanted this ex that so believes in you to have taken the primary seat, you should have married him. So now it would have been for the woman to say, you know what, we had a good relationship and all of that, but it didn't turn out in marriage. Right now, I'm a married woman. I've been married for 5 years. I know you count on me because past experience assures you that I will not treat your things shabbily.
Yeah.
But by reason of the covenant of marriage with my husband, I will not be able to do this no matter how juicy it looks. And that's ability for you now to realize that marriage requires that you respect the person you are married to.
Yes.
If she truly respects the husband, she should know that the man, whether he expresses it or doesn't express it, should not feel intimidated or should not feel like, you know, not being in control here. Because one, he's extended the borders too far.
Maybe she thought that the boundary is my husband should always know what I'm about. So my husband knows I'm in contact with my ex. My husband knows that he's entrusted some estate in my care. My husband knows that this car was bought to me by my ex because of the services I'm providing for him, taking care of his estate.
So that's why I'm coming back to saying that marriage is a very different ball game. There are certain explanations and excuses that should not be drawn into the relationship called marriage at all, You see, there are a lot of things that are behind, they are under the sheet as far as this matter is concerned, and I don't want to go too far. But I'd rather say, when this open door, supposed open door came, it exposed their inability to communicate, and communication is like blood to marriage. Because in the place of communication, when this happened, when this came up, it could have been said, okay, this is, no, we can allow this. We can allow this. Let somebody handle this for him. And the man should have put his feet down and said, sweetheart, no, we will not allow this. Even entertaining the calls from the ex's mother.
Because now his whole life has been entrusted in the care of this ex. So the mother is actually the monitoring spirit attending to the situation. Yes, Sofa.
Yes. That's why I was saying in the beginning that the thing has gone too far. But he can still salvage something. The mother of the ex coming in,
it's just making sure
it all makes it even worse. It makes it worse because then it's not just the two people who are having their dealing, but there is some form of legibility in the person. It's all rooted in the mother of the man coming in. Who knows what the three, whatever they've been discussing among the three of them? Who knows? The man has no idea.
Probably I will interrupt a little bit. You see, the three of them, she may not have any ulterior motive, but all flames are kindled within the only...
Let me help you with that one. In Chi, we say, Gentia, Nesonya Sona.
Gentia dada.
Gentia dada. Nesonya Sona.
Yes, so you realize that she is only safe because that man is far. The marriage is only safe because that man is far. They have already opened the channel. If he steps into Ghana, it will be a different ball game.
People, Madam says the marriage is only safe because the man in question is not in the country. If he lands today, not today. This is a very sinful sin, a pleasurable sin, staring in the eyes of my sister. May the Lord help her. Let me come to you, Ofa. What would make a man say that amongst all the human beings on this earth, you, a woman I knew before, you are the only one I can trust? Where a man's money is, that is where his love is. If you would entrust everything he's acquired over the years with this woman, yet he did not marry her when he had the chance, what makes people do these things?
Oh, you know, people get wiser. People grow, people get a lot of exposure, and then they are able to square things up and then realize where they stand. There may be something that, as you say, the ex was doing, the ex-lady, the ex-wife was, or the ex-girlfriend was doing for him, that he didn't really realize the import, the value and everything. But then over a period of time, reflections come in, you're exposed to so many things, and then you begin to analyze the situation. Probably you even kick yourself. That, why did I even leave this one? And then a man who is really bent on achieving his goal will tell himself, just a
fool,
and then he begins to have these thoughts. But he cannot come straight to his ex and tell her that, you know what, I made a terrible mistake, I didn't marry you. And so there has to be a way.
Yes. For him
To do it.
get back into her life.
Look, let me tell you a story. Look, I've always said that when Satan came through, or the serpent came to Eve and wanted to really deceive her, she didn't come straight away and say, oh, okay, this thing, God said, don't eat it. Go ahead and eat it. Nothing will happen. You know how he couched the first question? It was a hook.
Yes.
Eve didn't realize it. He said what? Oh, has God really told you not to eat any tree here in the garden?
A casual question.
Yes. Has he told you not to eat any? And then the woman opened up. That is where he was hooked. She was hooked. So she said, oh, no, that's not what he said. He said, I can eat everything except for this one. Because the day I eat this one, this and this and this will happen.
It was all based on a conversation that commenced.
She opened up. So, as Madam was saying, the lady should have told the man, her ex, that, look, it was good when we were together.
Yeah.
Now we are not.
And so we cannot go
I
this
am
way.
married. Please, I respect you, and I really appreciate the confidence you have reposed in me in wanting to commit all these things to my care. But because of the fact that I'm married, it will not be appropriate. And so that would be the position of a woman who is really committed to her marriage and wants to save his marriage.
Mama Kathy, we know of women that would go back to their exes, men they knew that are doing great, to take gifts from them, to ask for financial support from them. In fact, I have seen some take these support and give it to their own husbands. Is that love?
It's a trap.
It still boils down to what I said earlier on. They don't know the purpose of marriage.
So even if you have an ex that can help you pay your children's school fees, can give you a car that you need, because you're married, you don't go taking it?
You see, the real truth about this ex or exes or whatever is the fact that they are not God, no matter how their situation improves. And so they are not the only source of help. You have to always know that. So you don't replace God with anybody, even the ex we're talking about. Yes, you have difficulties in your marriage. You have lack. You have all of the needs and all of that. But you see, I believe that mutual respect requires that when it is ex, it should remain ex.
Even when I'm not doing anything with him, I cannot go to him for
No, the
assistance.
truth of the matter is that whatever fire you kindle, the flames that come up may devour you. Sometimes things don't appear as they actually are until you've been driven so far in and you can pull yourself out. And romantic love is a very dangerous love. There are some things I wouldn't, as a counselor, probably speak up here about. But I've seen people who went with very innocent
reconnections and
connections and all that, and it ended up
with their legs being spread.
With something that they never envisaged was going to happen. So we've got to be very, very careful. Only God is the ultimate source. No other person is. And if God cannot do it through another means that is more respectable, then let's not indulge in it.
Gentlemen, I noticed that you had something to say all this while. You've been speaking to me with your eyes and your facial expressions, and communication has been effective.
Yes, I actually like what the counselor said, but sometimes I think some exes are good people and they don't have any ill intentions. If I have broken up with you and then you can help me or support me do something, and you give me that support, that does not necessarily mean you want something from me. Some people do come with genuine intentions, and that is good. You can't tell me if I need money and then my ex, proposes to give me the money. Why not? I'll take it. Who doesn't like money? I'll take it.
If your wife always goes to your ex for money, it doesn't affect your confidence?
Am I working enough to make provisions? If I'm working enough to make provisions, fine. But if I'm not making provisions, then at least you can go out. Because as a man, I have to go and work.
For him, he's fair. I'm not able to provide, someone else can give us the assistance,
Miss
you will
Nancy,
take it.
This man is not married. Every man is jealous, except they don't have the interest in that woman.
Yeah,
Every man is jealous.
So as a man, I think I need to do better then. I need to do
Yes.
better because if I think I'm a man who is, before you go into marriage, I think you have to be financially stable or something. You have to make sure you have some
And marry
level of,
according
you
to
know,
your class.
independence.
So that what you call financial stability and comfort will be same for your partner. Because what you call that could be peanuts to your partner, knowing where she's coming from.
Yeah, you're not going to take anybody's daughter and then turn her into a burden. No, I want to live a comfortable life.
The
So
girls are
please.
loving on you, darling. We love you. We love you. All the women that have been, yeah, hello, everybody. If you're watching Confessions tonight and you've been reaching out to your ex, intentionally asking him how he's doing passing through the office, so you would leave with a little envelope of $1,000 or two, greetings to you. Bye.
Okay, I want to know, is it wrong to ask something from your ex? Is it wrong that you go to your ex and then you request something from, because...
That's a good one.
Yeah, because...
Asking for help.
I have a simple answer for you. Get it straight. There is nothing in this world as free lunch. Okay? Somebody has to pay for it. But people don't just give money and help for nothing.
But say,
And I'm developing a point. But you see, in a man-woman relationship, that thing is always there. It takes somebody of such huge discipline and maybe commitment to their faith to really stand firm and not be dragged into that net. And so, in your most vulnerable state, if you are a lady, which almost always turns out to be the case, and you have a problem at home, financial or whatever it is, and the first person who comes to mind, if they are well endowed,
Yeah.
and you believe that they can help, that is the first person you call. And it takes a lot of discipline on the part of that person to say,
abuse.
for nothing at all, for nothing at all. Because then, at that time, when you are most vulnerable, that is when he is going to say, he may not tell, but he will tell himself. If he's the person who just says things, he'll say, you see, now you're coming to me. You should have married me. See, the one you married can't help you.
Yeah.
because...
So, when it happens like that,
Yeah.
it means you have you
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
And so he will give it to you. And when he gives it to you, you become more or less his slave. He can then dictate the pace. He can dictate some of the things that happen between the two of you, especially if it's not the only time you are going for that kind of help. And so it kind of opens doors for all these possibilities.
All right.
And you never know where it's going to end. That is why it's dangerous. So for the avoidance of any doubt on the part of if you're a lady, your husband, stay away from your ex. Period.
Now, Mama Kathy, the girls are dropping some hints in my head. They're saying that sometimes you meet a man genuinely, you are into each other in circumstances, sometimes even distance, would cause a separation. You never really had an issue with each other. And whilst you were with a person, this person was struggling. You probably bought him a mattress, you probably bought him something, supported him throughout his education. Suddenly he has become, or suddenly she has become. Is it not okay for you to go back and take some ex gratia?
That's a good one, the ex gratia. Okay.
Ex gratia.
You know, truth is, yes, we can't deny the fact that there are some people in friendships and relationships who are genuinely caring enough to have supported a struggling partner. But when you come into the context of marriage, when you are married, it's always expedient that you are transparent with your spouse. So let your spouse understand how far was too far, how far did you people go, and if situations come up that you really would want help, discuss with your partner. But I would seriously discourage a situation where it's like tit for tat. You know, because I help you build a house. Now I'm in Dane. I must come to you because I know that you reciprocate at the end of the day. The reason I'm saying this is I don't want to go too far to call situations. You know, the counselor here, my partner here, said something. When you go back to a person that once was, it may start out very innocently. But most times it doesn't end like that. Genuinely, they want to help. But a time comes that you become too close and too comfortable, something else can come up.
Happen.
I've seen a situation where a woman was so driven to a point of need because they didn't have, and their rent had expired. They were about to be thrown out, children's school fees outstanding and all of that. Genuine needs. And she went to almost everybody he knew. There was none. She was forced to call the ex because she knew that the ex would help.
Yeah.
And she did. She put the call across. They had separated years, decades. And then the ex made a statement he just made right now. You left me. Now you've come back. And he said, I will give you. I can give you as many times over what you are asking for. But it's only under one condition. Because of the stretch she was, she gave in. But she never told the husband she gave in.
Yeah.
So the man had her and then gave her the money, which she used to. So let's be very careful. Men and women are wired differently.
Yeah.
Yes. Men and women, we are very different. And until we understand the differences between the male gender and the female gender, mostly a man can go to a woman who is in a position to help in his marriage because of difficulty. And the woman will help genuinely. But most times for men, women may be taken advantage of.
Why? Offer, why can't your brothers just be kind? Why is it that whenever they're extending their hands, they are extending something else in front of them?
That's right. That's right. It's the natural flow of things. Don't you get it, Miss Nancy?
No, I don't get it, man.
Well, that's how it is, unfortunately. Look, it is a fact of life. A woman and a man coming together,
They're different.
put gunpowder and fire close,
Yeah.
and there will always be fireworks. You don't. That's why it is incumbent on a married woman never to engage an ex.
Don't do that.
If for nothing at all, it engenders jealousy in the husband that she's living with.
But the men, why don't you talk to your wives? Why there are a lot of lonely married women living in the same space with a man who does not speak to her for any reason. If they are talking, what's the time? Are the children sleeping? Have you paid school fees? What time did you get home? They don't have conversations. And so these are married, lonely women because their men say they don't have time to talk. And if you don't have time to talk, I need a company.
Yes,
My other friend, my ex-boyfriend, was a great talker. He says all the pleasant things that makes me feel good. Gives me all the laughter, Jay, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Why should I stay there alone?
Yeah. So that is one other reason why some married woman may gravitate towards an ex.
Yes.
Or even if it's not an ex, somebody who has the ears to listen.
So, Offa, you tell us, what are the men supposed to do? Us in communicating with their partners, especially when they are married.
Oh, it's a sad reflection on our on men in our part of the world. We don't talk, and even if we talk, most men would share laughter, jokes, and stuff with people outside their
homes. Why?
It is. That's how it is.
So, Mama Kathy wants to come in, Offa. Let me allow her.
Let him finish.
Please go ahead, ma'am.
You know, truth is, I would use this platform to say something extremely very important. The reason for that is still the effects of upbringing. Number two, attachment theory. I want everybody listening to me right now to go and study about attachment. There are 4 attachments.
Okay.
Most men, because naturally, men gravitate towards isolation in marriage because of their upbringing. There are stereotypes in raising men and women in our homes.
Yes.
And then daddy didn't talk with mommy. And then they saw it, they hated it, they become what? So insecure attachment, where a man was left for himself as a child or infant, was not really given attention. Emotions were not expressed. The parents were not expressive as far as emotions were concerned. They are more comfortable to building relationships outside that does not really entail their vulnerability and opening up. So they talk more with men. They talk more with a girlfriend. But in the context of marriage, because of where they were brought up, they never saw mommy and daddy play, be affectionate, be romantic, be all that. You can't become automatically what you didn't see. You can never give another person. So to a great extent, the lack of talking by men is mostly the prototype of who their fathers most times were.
As a mother watching tonight's show on TV3, how are you raising your boy children? Are you raising them to have the positive attachment attitude so they can express themselves to the people they love? It's on to you. Let's take this break. When we come back, more. You're welcome back. This is Confessions on TV3. My name is Miss Nancy, and with me tonight is George Yao Otri, a relationship counselor, and I also have Mama Catherine Emmanuel. She is great. They've been awesome so far, but we need to go out there onto the streets. Your wife, your husband says, my ex reached out to me and needs me to support him or her through a divorce by entrusting some estate in my care. He's always on my phone. I'm always in contact with his parents or some family members of his. Would you take it or not? To the streets we go.
My advice for the man or the husband is, in everything there's communication. If the communication is not there, then there's no relationship, there's no marriage. So I think he should just open up to the wife to express how he feels. He should talk to the wife that, oh, honey, the calls are becoming too much with your ex. I'm hurting, I'm feeling jealous.
If I'm to be the woman, I would just sit my husband down and tell him everything. Then after that, I will still continue with my ex. Then after everything, I will just share the property with my husband.
I personally feel like maybe they have something in common doing again that the husband is probably not aware, because for the fact that he keeps calling while the girl is in another relationship, which is like marriage, I think it's just too much.
Since the guy from abroad is my ex, and I really love my husband, I don't want to lose him, I'll have a plan with him that's this and that my ex is talking about. So I'll let my ex do whatever he wants to do in my name. After he's done, then we run away with the things that he did for me.
That is what the streets had to say. We're back here in the studio, and gentlemen, you had something to say.
Okay, so back to my question that I asked, that is it good for you to ask your ex something?
Yeah.
It's time. We are at the point that we need to switch from our intuition to facts, because what we are saying here right now is that it's no good, per my understanding, that it's no good to request something from your ex. It might lead to this, it might lead to that. What if they have children, or they have, in a situation whereby they have children in that marriage before breaking up? Would you still say that they shouldn't go back to ask for help? And
the help, if the help is for the child, it makes sense. But if you're asking for personal help when you are married to another and it's not for your children,
I'll agree to an extent, but yes, ladies, they need money. No matter how rich you are, anything can happen. You will surely need money. So we have to establish this connection. There shouldn't be anything like strange attacks attached to men supporting ladies in society. It's not the best way. Okay, I've given you money, so you are also supposed to give me something. That's not the best way, because as human beings, we are all...
Now, back to the conversation, the story, the confession, and his fears. Yeah. It looks like we've let the gentleman who is reaching out to his ex out of it. Now, you gentleman that went away, married another person, had another life, what is your business? Reaching out to your ex to ask her for suggestions and involving her in your divorce or separation issues. What does he want? Is he also not a very selfish man? What is it with men that when marriages do not end up, they do not want their exes to enjoy the fruits of their labor, always hiding things so that the women usually don't get anything? What is it, Mama Kathy?
Yeah, wow, that's the twist you brought there. So there are two sides to this. His marriage is breaking up. He's going through divorce.
Yeah.
Now, he wants to entrust all his things to this ex so that the real wife will not have access to anything. So he's biting and chewing at the same time. The real issue is, I believe that there is more to this matter. I think people should just be disciplined, because what he is doing is an injustice to even the wife. Yes. Why is he now entrusting all his estates and everything to somebody else's wife who is living in Ghana and not enjoying foreign currency? Because that alone is very tempting. You can do comparative analysis. This man is bringing foreign currency and is undergoing divorce. So the option is, if this one doesn't even work out, I can switch.
Yeah.
And he is also mean to the wife. Now he wants, before even the divorce comes through, to have transferred everything into this other woman's
so that he has his own wife, who is becoming his ex-wife, would be cheated.
Will be cheated, completely cheated. So it still boils down to unfaithfulness, injustice, wickedness, all manner of negativity, which should not be allowed. It should not be allowed.
All manner of negativity should not be allowed.
It should not be allowed. Because at the end of the day, for whatever reason he's broken up, nobody knows. But go through it, and then if you are to pay alimony, you pay. Yeah. But I think that for me is not really the crux of the matter. The crux of the matter is you indulging somebody else's wife. That you know you are bringing problem, and if care is not taken, trust will be broken. Because if this drags on, something will go wrong. So I think men should also wake up. This is not to castigate. This is not to criticize. This is not to judge. Not every man does this.
No.
So we are not going to generalize. But men who are given to doing this kind of a thing should be discouraged. Go through it and pay whatever you need to pay before. Don't transfer anything until the divorce is through and then the judgment is given. And afterwards, you can look for somebody else that you can entrust with your...
And then again, there are also the very... what's the word I want to use? Wicked women who want to reap where they have not sown.
Exactly my point.
She knows that I didn't commence this life with this person. He had all of these things ahead of me. Understand and let him give you something out of his own joy, out of his own heart. And this woman is saying that so long as I'm leaving you, I'm taking everything with me. Offer, speak to the sisters.
That is what I was thinking about when Madam was talking. Because see, we haven't heard his side of the story. So what we are presented it with
and
is
that's
what
why I
we
brought
are
it
discussing.
in. Speak to the sisters.
Who knows what the man is going through? Probably that is even the reason why he decided to turn back and have a conversation with his ex. Because maybe this other woman has been taking him through hell.
Yeah.
We hear terrible stories about people living outside who are married. And we hear it in the news all the time.
Yes.
Some of the things they subject their husbands to.
Partners too.
So something must have happened.
Yeah.
And then this man probably sitting down there reflecting and thinking about all the things. Probably he's been able to raise his living standard up to a point. He did that on his own.
On his own.
To the point where he is now comfortable in everything. And then he decided to have a wife. And then the wife comes around, and within a short time, there's an explosion in the home. And so he decides that, no, this is not what I was looking for. And so if that is the case, then it's trade. And so if you are leaving, then you are not going to have all these things. Probably that is the only reason why you even agreed to my proposal in the first place. And if you're leaving, then you are not having anything.
Now, tonight I want to be the sister of the brothers. Guys, there are ladies out there who has made it a point to choose certain men as their baby daddies. There are ladies out there who are choosing certain men as husbands, intending to divorce them in a year or two so they can have access to some of the things. Shine your eyes, guys. I am the sister, and I'm loving on you tonight. shine your eyes. We're wrapping up. Ofa.
Yes, I come back to the first points I raised, that being afraid, that's the first step. It means there is something going on in your mind and it's turning. And the longer it turns, the mind has a way of putting all the effects there to present a scenario to you that is so believable. And what does it do? It raises your emotional temperature and everything. So the best thing for him to do is to act, not to just sit down there
And be thinking. It's a
what's
time
going
of
to happen?
action.
Take action now before it's too late.
Ofa says it's not a time for you to be thinking and critically analyzing. No. Be a man. It's a time for action. Darling?
Yeah, I would say that I'm going back to the conversation you had. There's a level of trust that man has in the wife. Level of trust.
Yes.
There's a level of trust.
Yes.
And analyzing how life is outside and some experiences some men have, and then also analyzing the fact that this man would have had relatives and all of that, but he has weighed all and discovered that this is the only one to trust. What I would advise the couple to do is sit down and have heart-to-heart conversation. And if possible, the wife should introduce the husband to the ex and let them work together as men, rather than being too connected to. Men have pride. You see what he just did now?
Yeah.
He sulked. He went down
Yes.
because of the pride. But I believe that to protect, because his own is fear. And fear has torment. The Bible says fear has torment.
It does.
So if you are afraid of anything, what you are afraid of will come.
Yes.
In order to avoid it, is either you sever the relationship completely and tell your wife, I don't want this, no matter how clean it is. I'm not safe. I don't feel secure. I don't feel safe. So let's cut it off and probably suggest somebody else who can stand in and do the same job. But already a car has been handed over.
A car has been. This has been a great episode of Confessions brought to you by MTN. Everywhere you go, yellow. Yes, and I will tell you tonight, I left this room, this conversation with this opinion. Whatever ex gracias I need to collect, I will collect them before I get married. Because the moment he puts a ring on it, I'm not coming back to you. I've learned the lessons tonight. And if you're married already, darling, this is it. Honor yourself, honor your husband, honor your union. Stop gallivanting around your exes asking for help. Thank you. My name is Miss Nancy.